Thank you all for being here on an evening where I'd rather be sitting on the deck having a drink. I guess that's my remarks. No, a couple of things. Saturday is DPPOA cleanup day. Now, usually, the three guys that were always here to sort of hump stuff around was Gary, John, and myself. Gary's going to be going away on vacation, so I don't think you're going to make it. Jack is already in Colorado.
What day is it again?
Saturday.
What Saturday?
From 8 until 2.
I will try.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can make it or not. I'll try to get down. I'm trying to figure out who else can commit.
I will come.
But you need some muscle power.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to commit. I have to work, and my day can vary. I can be done by noon. I might not get done until 3. I will make every effort to be there as soon as I possibly can.
Well, all right, so that's amazing.
Well, here's the thing. If you're a collector,
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do.
I still have a bunch of equipment. Somebody's thrown away a bunch of power equipment. I still have it. I've been using it for 2-3 years.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's an incentive to come.
Oh, yeah, no,
I'm just saying, it's amazing what
Gary has
Well,
picked
is
up
there-
some tools that were just amazing.
Oh yeah, I got a
brand
set
new.
of German pipe wrenches that I've never seen before.
Really?
They are amazing.
Okay.
But
Is there a way that you can leave like some of just the bulk,
No.
just the grunt work for me to do? And
No,
I
no,
truck and bring it
it's
to
gotta
the
be, no, because the county will come at 2 and it's all
But
gone.
if you could get
You
there by
can't.
noon, if you say your day, if you don't know what your day is.
I have no idea. I will
Well-
do my absolute best to get there as soon as I
So
can.
I
And
guess
what
I'll
location?
try to.
It's right across, it's right across from that lot, right across there from the,
Right, yeah,
Okay,
right here.
gotcha. Okay.
All right,
My
I'll try to come over in the morning. I
Okay,
can't
that'll
stay
be
too
fine.
long.
Whatever you can give, you don't have to give the whole
Yeah.
6 hours.
but.
My brother is in
concerned about-
town, I'm
Oh,
sure I've told a lot of you.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's not fair.
I
because
can
he
drag
came
him
down
away
to
from the
help.
work at my house.
No, he's here to help you with
He
your
is,
house.
he
Don't do
is.
that, that's not fair.
Well,
Unless he wants a break,
Well, it depends on how much heavy stuff that we can't get in, that we need
people
a man,
generally,
a strong man to
it's
do.
like, they're there ready to get it out of their own cars,
Yeah,
and I help, and we all help. It's just that
But
sometimes they
sometimes,
bring grills
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
big things.
And the other
And
thing
I'm not gonna be
is,
much
if-
help to you,
if-
but I'll be there.
I
I'm
can
not
do
gonna be-
some.
the
I'm
other
not
thing
gonna
is,
do
if you're not watching them sometimes, they have a tendency to just come up to the edge of the bin and put it there.
Yeah.
Which means in 5 minutes it looks full and actually it's empty, so you gotta make sure that the stuff goes all the way to the front and,
And make sure they don't put tires in there.
well, yeah.
Guard debris.
There are.
Building material,
There are
there's a few
rules,
little
yeah.
rules.
But anyway, so,
Do
whatever.
you have a big sign saying what can't be put in there?
I put a copy of the newsletter, I
Yeah,
take
but
it to
if
the
you
side.
had a, we had
They
a.
would still
They
complain.
would get
I put it on the
that.
website, I put it in the newsletter, it goes
Bonnie.
out in the
I'm
community
saying,
email.
on the bin itself,
Yeah,
so
but-
it
Yeah.
Bonnie,
like big print.
yeah, Bonnie
They can't
keeps
pretend.
making this
Yeah.
assumption that everybody's gonna read it.
Yeah, but I think if it's right there, there's no way they
Big.
miss it, you
Big.
know?
But by
I
then
agree
they'll
with
already
you.
have
I
it
think
in
it's
their
a good
car.
idea.
Yeah.
They'll already have it
In the car, and they'll wanna leave it
Yeah.
anyway,
I know.
you just have to tell them,
But
I'm sorry,
it
we
could also
can't
help
take
me,
it.
because I can't, I
I'll
don't
put it-
remember, I don't remember anything.
And
Yeah.
one of these days, I'll.
Yes.
Saturday, they're having the Drum Point Club meeting
So,
on Saturday instead of their usual time. So I'll ask one of the members if maybe somebody would, people would like
Be
to
willing to help back.
come
What
along.
time
That would be wonderful.
I don't know what time that is. Do you think it's like,
Well,
I can't remember.
Eric's supposed to be in New York for a wedding, but it doesn't look like he's gonna be able to get off Friday for work, so he might be here, but I think originally he wasn't gonna be at that meeting,
Right.
and now he goes now, so.
well,
Yeah,
but
well-
anyway, whoever, I think we're gonna need a little extra help, so
Yeah.
whoever can make it. Then the other thing I'd like to bring up is, once again, we've got the trash issue. Remember the guy that, on, what is it, Lake
Lake Place, Lake Place.
Lake
Friendly.
Place.
Lake Place, next to
Yeah,
Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Oh, right there, that was,
Yeah.
Well, the guy
Carolyn,
is,
and there's another house.
Yeah.
yeah, once again, where that roundabout used to be, it is full of junk. And this time, it's not just construction junk, some of it is household trash, and I think garbage. And I'm told that varmints are starting to show up.
Did somebody come by and pick it up before?
Yes,
Like a
somebody,
service?
something happened to it. but it disappeared. But now it's at least 2 weeks, I think, or 3 maybe, and it's built up
I think
again.
it's the house between Amy Risco.
Yeah, I know which one.
Yeah, I think we gotta send them a letter and,
Okay.
you know, one, tell them that, you know, that you really shouldn't be keeping it on our property. I mean,
Right.
because he is keeping it on DPPOA property.
I'll send him an email,
Yeah,
if
and
that's okay.
there's- and then,
It's
you
a
know,
little quicker to get it.
Even if
Yeah,
it was
so-
all on his property, if it's really becoming a safety hazard in terms of,
Well, but if he wants to keep it, he should keep it in his garage.
yeah.
Or get another bin or something.
Or,
'cause
you
the
know,
problem
but-
is, like,
Yeah, that's-
there's like just bags that
It's
animals
just-
can get into.
yeah,
But
yeah.
is it, can we refer him to somewhere on the website or on the internet, that the county rules for the dump, that, you know, that he can
Yeah.
take his stuff to the dump? I mean.
Well, I
you know,
think the issue too is that his daughter's gonna be living there, so.
Yeah,
it's
well,
just-
she's there now, but
Right, but
not
he's
full
not gonna,
time.
well, she's going to St. Mary's, and he's not gonna be there, so it's just gonna be her.
Oh, so there's a rule, women can't take things to the dump?
No, but I'm just saying,
Is that misogyny coming up?
no, I'm just saying that, yeah, it's, that,
Or maybe they can get, you know, a trash service.
Yeah, the trash service,
Right.
you know,
yeah.
but, you know, my understanding is that girl is already living there, but she's going to a community college? or
No,
something?
she's going to St. Mary's College of Maryland. She's
Oh, she's
commuting,
going- okay.
Yeah.
Pretty good idea for that.
Yeah, that's, well,
Yeah.
it's a nice commute every day.
Marisa drove it.
Does
But it's free.
But, you know, but in any case, whoever it is, I mean.
Right, yeah, they need to pick up
The
the trash.
trash
That's
is
a
once again-
Health issue, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not like a couch sitting out there.
No, no,
waiting?
no,
No, they have a regular, before they had the bin that I was complaining
Yeah.
about out in the water, they don't, now that bin's gone.
That bin's
They
gone.
have a regular bin, and that's full, but there's like a whole bunch of
Yeah,
trash
but
on
there's
top
some-
of
yeah,
it
there's some
and
paint-
around it.
Yeah, there's some paint cans and
Yeah.
things like that, but then there's trash bags.
Yeah.
But they leave it there for like
They
weeks.
used to have a couple of mattresses there.
I think they don't
Oh,
understand
those could have
the
been
concept of the bin is
Yeah, that's gone, that's
They
gone.
probably expect the county to come get it.
Well, yeah, you know.
Well, you'd be surprised, people
Well, you know,
realize.
Yeah,
Montgomery County,
property.
Montgomery County, you get free trash.
You get free bin.
No, it's not free because
It's
you
not
pay
free.
taxes, but they come
It's
by.
included in your.
Right,
So
so you have
know
like
you expect it.
paper,
Yeah,
glass,
but
and
that's not true
regular
of Calvary.
Right, anyway, that's my
Yeah.
whole spiel.
Yeah.
So, and then public comment, there's no public. Approval of the August minutes. Motion, somebody makes them, there's a second, all in favor, all opposed? Okay, carried, that's done. Office update.
The audit was conducted on the 9th of August. Took about 5 hours, he was here quite a while. Very thorough audit compared to other communities, I just want to say. Got the property tax bills, as you probably all did for your houses. It's a total of $21,4046, and of that amount, let's see, for the house, for the property here, it's gone up again a little bit this year. This year it's $1965.30. Last year it was $1941.60. So about what, $23, $24?
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but have we ever tried to ask for an exemption because we're a not-for-profit organization?
We haven't done that, but what we did do, our vacant lots, we pay $175.16 for 46 vacant lots. And a number of years ago, a member of the community, Bob Pattison, who some of you would know, but many of you probably don't know, petitioned to have everything put in green space. Because we were paying almost as much for all those vacant lots
Yeah.
as we do for this property. I don't know if he ever inquired about the fact that we're a not-for-profit, if that would have reduced.
Well,
I can call the
I don't
treasurer's
know.
office.
We're not a nonprofit,
Right, it's different.
and I don't think you can get any relief unless you are a non.
No, oh yeah, we're.
So we don't have 503C certification.
No, we're not for
501c4.
profit, right? But we're not non-profit.
Right.
What are we, 50C4?
C5, I think.
C3, I think
If
is
there's
the
no relief, there's
non-profit.
no relief.
We're whatever it
Okay.
is.
There's no relief, no relief, okay, moving right along.
Right. Newsletter went to the post office today and out by email. Took about 410 to the post office, so it shrinks continually as I get more email addresses. More than 800 by email, some of which, people have 2 email addresses in their house. circuit court tomorrow morning for Cove Point. I don't know if either of you want to know. I feel like one of us should go, and I'd like to go. I'd like to listen in, because Tom Shields going to be there. Maybe I can leave my phone to record.
What is the circuit court about?
I don't know how much, there's
Fair
another
question.
community, well, I'm sorry, there's another community who has had issues with people paying their covenant fees.
Okay.
And the judge referred them to a higher court for one of their cases. The man defended it, and so the judge referred them to a higher court.
Let me give you a little deeper
I
background.
didn't know how much background you
So
wanted to
the,
give.
if you'll remember, we moved our covenant fees from $10 to CPI index adjusted. This community, it's Cove Point, I guess, had a similar situation, and they changed their fee structure, but they did it differently, so it's a little different. And they came to us and said, well, you know, what do we do? And we referred them to our attorney, and our attorney is now representing them. So it would be smart for us to be there to see how our attorney conducts himself in front of the court, because if we have to go to court, it'll be a very similar case.
Okay.
So one of the property owners at Cove Point said, you can't do that. The covenants say this, and I'm not paying because you don't have the right to bill me that.
Their covenants are worded slightly different than ours, I will say, and I don't remember the exact wording.
I don't think they've gone to a CPI adjusted either. They just arbitrarily picked a number and went
That
on,
could be right, that could be true.
which is different.
You can just, it's harder to just.
But the defense would be very similar, and I'm sure that our attorney's using some of the same material he had put together to advise us on if we could do it or not and why. He'd probably be doing the same thing with them.
He didn't seem to be as pleased with the wording of their covenant versus
Yeah.
ours. He seems to think ours was more readily doable versus theirs. And their covenants were put in like in the late 30s, early 40s, something like that, before ours in 48.
So where is this,
Circuit Court in Constructive. It's the old courthouse. It's the old courthouse.
Upstairs,
Yeah, probably upstairs, and we have a lot of the college.
second floor, there's only one courtroom, gate missing.
No, I probably could, but anyway.
okay,
And that's
Can
all I have.
you close up the office for the morning? I mean, can
Yeah,
you-
I'll come in and put my little sign on the door that
Yeah,
I'll
just
be back
go,
in
because
next
I think
over about
somebody
years
should go.
Do you do shorthand?
ago.
No,
I
So
just
now I
think
don't.
it would be nice to have a good record of that.
Can
Here's
you, can you record?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Some
I
judges
thought-
don't
I'm
take
sure
the
they'll
likely,
like
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Probably
I think when you first go in, the bailiff gives you your instruction,
Oh,
don't chew gum, learn that, and do not record. I'm pretty sure it says that.
Yeah,
And
it's,
certainly don't talk.
Yeah.
and most judges don't take.
Gary learned that.
And turn your cell phone off.
You can't even whisper.
No, they will come and tell you twice.
Really?
Yes.
Then-
Next time you're out.
Then you're out.
Oh, that's it.
That's it, that's all.
All right. Committee reports, let's just go around the table. Mike, anything?
Yeah, back around the 26th, I sent an email out to the board about the property at 13042 Mills Creek, the burned property over there.
Yeah.
Gary sent it to Hart. Apparently he sent it to code enforcement. Have we heard anything?
Gary asked me to call code enforcement, which I did, and I talked to Chris Breedlove, and he's one of the inspectors, and he referred me to Joe Hawkshurst, in inspections and permits, and I called and left a message for him, but I haven't heard back. And I called the fire department, but there was no answer, and I haven't called since.
Okay, well, I mean, the public safety or fire department or something. I
Right.
mean, the property is, in the best case, it's an eyesore.
Right.
Of course, it's always been an eyesore, but now it's a burned out shell of an eyesore. It's a hazard, a safety hazard. There's no tape around it. The gates are open. There are abandoned vehicles.
Right. I haven't driven by, I keep meaning to.
It's not even red tag.
No.
And again, you would think they'd have a, condemned
Yes.
sticker on it.
Well, let me
Because it's
say,
obviously not habitable.
Well, with regard to something not being habitable and what the county will or will not or can and cannot do, when I talked with Chris Breedlove, he's well aware and very familiar with the house on Mohawk that's been abandoned now for years. And I have brought it up in the past, the county commissioners at one time thought, and told zoning enforcement to go around the county, check out which properties are like this, completely abandoned. They were going to try to do something about it. That property would have been at the top of the list had they decided to do anything. There were too many properties and it was going to be too expensive to do anything. So nothing has ever
So
been
they-
done. I mean, and that property is every
I
bit,
think this is
probably
a
every
fire
bit
department
as,
issue.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just think
Dangerous.
you have to keep the pressure on them,
well, yeah, I agree.
because they'll do nothing if we do nothing.
Exactly right. And
Yeah.
what I've told people when they've come in the past and complained specifically about Mohawk, I've given them that little story about the commissioners, what they can, can't do, and won't do, and so on. They, you know, our hands are kind of tied, and I would suggest you contact your county commissioners. I think, you know, the more people that are, you know, like you said, bugging them about it, the more likely something will be done.
Where
But this
is
has been a
Mohawk?
number of years ago.
Where is Mohawk?
Drive down Huron, which is the next
Okay.
road, make a left on Buckler curves real sharply and becomes a Mohawk. It's just before the community beach and it's on the way.
Can we possibly put a lien on it?
The owners are deceased. They left.
Which property are we talking about?
Oh,
The burned out property, I was just.
one can do that. First of all, the property owners are deceased, and I imagine their son owns it, but I can't seem to get.
This one too?
No, not the property.
Well,
On
He's talking
Mohawk.
about no, he's talking about the burned out.
How about the burned out one? Oh,
I thought,
we can, but until it sells, you don't collect that one.
well, the issue on this one is that
What am I gonna leave?
It was-
You know, they own it.
it was in default, and it was going into foreclosure. So we really don't know, I don't know whether it's the bank has it, or the people, you know, I don't know where it is. But regardless of that, the thing is a nuisance, a safety hazard, you name it. And if we don't keep the pressure on the county,
I agree.
I mean, it'll be like Mohawk, they'll do nothing.
So more emails to the commissioners, I guess, or, and I'll certainly call Joe Hawks first again if I don't hear from him the next day.
Well, isn't there a public safety office?
I suppose there might be, I don't know.
you have to go back to my.
I still think the fire department.
Well, the fire department, you would think, but you would think they would have done something
On the spot
based on their response.
at the time. They didn't,
Oh.
and I think they were missing and not doing anything. I really think it's the fire department.
Well,
Because they handled it, they know the structure is not safe.
Right.
And they should,
You would think they would
Post something.
automatically.
yeah,
you would think they would do that automatically, but we do live in Coward County, and people don't always do what is the right thing, so I think we should.
As far as getting them to actually take it down or
No,
something?
no,
I don't
no,
think you're gonna have
nobody
that
can
happen.
take it down,
Yeah,
let's
nobody
get over
can do
that.
that.
Okay, okay.
But we can at least get them to post it to stay off of.
Right,
There is a no trespassing sign that was put up by the owner.
there was.
There is.
There is.
Wherever you cannot take it down, I mean, you can.
Well, I don't know.
At some point, at some point,
They know.
well, eventually maybe, but
It's-
Yeah.
it's not
Depends on-
ours.
No, but
It's,
We have no right to trespass.
we can't
We
do it.
can't trespass.
We can't do anything
I
about
mean,
it.
if the bank ends up owning it, it will be in their best interest to take it down,
Yeah,
because they'll never sell
yeah.
the
Right,
place.
Yeah, right.
So,
But that too can take a long time. When these
Yeah,
foreclosures
but-
go through, they take years.
I know, but if we don't start doing
I
something,
agree, I'm just saying with regard to the bank's best interest,
Yeah.
one would
No
think
argument,
it would be
and-
their best interest to get the foreclosures.
Unfortunately, I'll put myself in it, I didn't follow up, and I should have, so
Well, no,
We'll-
I'll keep trying
we'll
to.
follow up with the county and the
okay.
But I think we should then also talk about Mohawk again with the county, because that's every bit as dangerous, I imagine. to-
Is that the little place that's overgrown with?
Yeah.
yeah, people have been camping out in there and stuff.
Oh, yeah. But anyway,
And nobody ever complains about that place on, at the beginning of Bay Drive? Right there with.
on the corner by Foss,
That's,
I don't know, does anybody ever complain?
There's a
about
light on in there.
you mean the one
Yeah.
that sits, it
The
looks like
one
a
looks like a
chalet?
little chalet, but it's over
Yeah.
on the
There's a
road.
light on in there.
I know.
I don't think
You can't
anybody
get
complains
electricity bill.
because you can't really see it.
Well, yeah, it's totally
You know,
overgrown, yeah.
Jan Sellers, I think, checked into it years ago, wanting to buy it. I mean, this was
It's
a
been abandoned
location.
forever,
Oh,
so.
yes.
Since I've been here.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the place also on the corner of Harbor and Mills Creek. It's just a junkyard,
They got a
wood
little
lot,
shed on the side.
garbage dump.
Yeah.
The guy who makes the picnic tables.
And we've written to him before. That's hard.
We have no police
We
authority.
do not. And even the county will put like a warning on your door or knock on your door and say, you know, you need to clean this up. But even their hands are tied. They placed a lien on the place a number of years ago now, up here on that lake in Huron. The grass was waist high, literally.
Health
Health
place
department,
across from Tony that before it was bought. Remember
Same.
Paul McNamara was always
Yeah,
calling you
yeah.
about that grass?
yes, I do.
Yay,
But the
hi.
county,
Yes.
you know, placed a lien on the house at Lake in Huron. They couldn't collect until that man sold it. $500, that was all they could do. I don't know.
Okay.
So, anyway,
All right. Asha.
I have nothing to report.
Now, I was gonna ask about what was going on with the house.
And you covered it.
Okay.
Jack's not here. Who's gonna do, you wanna do finance for Jack, just in?
well, the reports are here,
Yeah.
you know, as always. There's really nothing
Is there anything unusual?
unusual.
You wanna, while you got the floor, you wanna comment about welcoming committee?
Oh, yeah, me as well. Asha and Jenna came in Friday
Yes.
and assembled 4 or 5, I think. Four buckets. I need to pick up 2 bottles of wine, thank you very much. For Mike, because so 2 are still open for that. And then Bonnie picked up 2 of the buckets today to deliver to 2
Jenny
owners.
Rice and Nancy
Garner.
Gardner.
Did you, were they there? You got
I
that?
got Jenny.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. So I'll mark that.
Yeah.
Very good
Yes,
spreadsheet.
they've been,
And I called 2 people today that Cindy asked me to call because she was going out of town. Called one, emailed the other, and so they can have it, and I'll deliver it. That's it.
So I'm gonna cover 2 things. Action items, Jeff isn't here, but I don't know if you all are aware or not, but we did start the movement on doing the paving. And the basic prep work has been done. Basic prep work is going around with a machine to chew up where 2 areas have to meet each other. Driveways and where the paving ends. It's got to go down enough for the asphalt to be able to have asphalt and have it meet the old asphalt. And they've done some patchwork and dug up some tree roots and patched that. And what was the other thing? Oh, there's an area at the corner of Buckler and Huron. This corner right here had a problem with water drainage, and Jeff had them round that corner off better and regrade, set up for a regrade so that the water will drain properly at that corner. But this is basically the area that's getting paved. This road, and I think John Hanson as well. Anyway, that's your area, I don't remember exactly which ones. It's basically a mile and a quarter of roads. And then we've had to suspend work because, if you will remember, when we repaved, we also put down fabric. And that involves spraying the road with a tar-like substance, and you put the fabric over top of it, and that soaks into the stuff. Then you come back and pave over top of that. Well, when it's this hot, it can't run over the fabric. It rips and tears and comes apart. So we got to wait till it cools off before we can do anything. So probably next week. It's supposed to get cooler over the weekend. And it can't be raining heavily. There is some weather dependencies. Usually we're struggling against it being too cold because we wait too late in the year this time of heat. So that's that. I can't tell you when it's going to start. Probably next week. Okay. Jeff will be overseeing it, by the way. He's going to be around. We've had to change who's doing our mowing for us, our right-of-way mowing. Our old folks, the folks that were doing it for us, let's just say they don't work for us anymore. And we've hired a new guy and he's gonna start, I guess, right away. We did, when we went to look at our mower, found out that it was, it had some issues. And we just got that back from the shop today, almost $300 worth of work.
46 with Hillary.
Was it, the deck wouldn't raise and lower properly, and one of the rollers on the front was torn up. And they did a regular routine maintenance on the disc oil, plugs and oil and stuff, filters. Anyway, so that's that, that's ready to go again. Hopefully won't miss too many beats. We are way behind on the mowing of the rights of way, so if anybody complains to you, tell them, yeah, we're aware and we're trying to catch up. The problem was, remember we had all that wet weather, couldn't mow, and then we had problems with getting people in seats to do the mowing. And now we're starting over with a new person.
So what is the name of the new person that's doing it?
Rodney,
Rodney, okay.
Rodney, he's, how big is Rodney? I'd say Rodney's about 6'2", maybe.
Lives in,
He's
Benedict, toward Benedict.
African American.
Okay.
So anyway, he does not live all that close, but he is experienced. That's all I have.
How about, you gonna cover safety for Peter or?
No, there's nothing to talk about for safety.
Okay, good. I feel better, see that, I feel safer already.
Except for the burned out house, right?
Yeah. Burned down.
I already feel safe though. Bonnie,
Yes, I have 2.5 or maybe 3 things. The first is the Phragmites spraying. That will happen in a few weeks, the latter part of the month, and it will depend on rain, once again, and wind. You can't spray when it's windy. So we're going to have our common areas sprayed for the second time in the second year. And we are petitioning for a modification of the permit to allow 3 private parcels to be added. Last spring, I talked to Deborah Sarabian, DNR, about adding, giving the property owners, private property owners, the convenience of being covered in our permit as long as they pay. And we've talked about this, you all know that. So I sent her the name of the 3 parcels that we thought we would do this year. Because we didn't really get much response from anybody. And I got one of those automatic response saying this person is on extended leave through beginning of October. So I called her person that's supposed to be handling the situation. She didn't know anything about it. So she went and inquired and said we had to actually formally request a modification of the permit, but they thought it could be done. So Rhea and I are working together to get that done, to add the 2 parcels for sure. Tony's and one neighbor, and then there's another neighbor that's kind of straddling the fence. Sometimes she thinks she wants to make a dream. We just don't know if that's going to happen. But my intention, and I have a letter that I'll be drafting, and Rita can fix it and send it on Do Your Magic to see how quickly we can get this done. I think the sprayer, Mark Smith, is willing to do it, whether it's official or not, because we know we're going to get approved. And I would like for these people to be added for the remainder of our permit, which goes to 2021. So they have the right to continue to do it every year. They'll still have to sign the form and still pay. So I think I thought the whole thing was totally fatally screwed up, but I think we managed to pull it out. We'll see. And then there's John had talked to me about some Phragmites that he thought he might have on his property. So Tony and I went and took a look, and he does not yet, but he abuts the marina. And it has a boatload of Phragmites. I mean, this is, it's kind of like the biggest this room.
it's about 60 by 20, 30 feet.
And he's been trying to fight it on his own, and it's a losing battle. So I thought, well, since where the Phragmites is, the marina has 3 parcels, 3 conjoined parcels, and one of them where the Phragmites is Drum Point, and then the other 2 belong to CRA. And I thought, well, it's the Drum Point parcel, we should be able to add it, but alas, no, we cannot do that because luckily the parcels we want to add are all in a zone from Lake Charming down to Drum Point Lake, and along is it Surf Road? Where they've been treated, and so these parcels are kind of in the same zone. But this is a completely different part of Ground Point. And I had thought we could cover anybody, but that appears not to be true. So that's gonna be a separate thing. The sprayer and the marina owner, Michael Foley, I'm trying to get them to talk to each other with not so much success yet. So that next year, he can, the sprayer can pull a private permit for Michael Foley, not part of our permit, but just get him, because he wants to get it done. He's willing to pay the money, he just wants to get it done because he can't handle it. And I'm afraid that if he doesn't do it soon, John's gonna have it. John's gonna have it.
Yeah.
So that's, we'll see how all this works out. I'm hopeful though. And the other thing I wanted to mention was Jack had talked about removing the dead canes, because they really are unsightly, and Jack's concept would be to get rid of them and then do some nice low maintenance planting, so the place would look very,
The causeway
Subdivision would
and
look nice.
at our beach.
you know, wherever we
So
killed it
look-
last year, we want to get rid of it. Now, Mark Smith, the sprayer, doesn't really like to do, he wants it to die of its own, and it could be another couple of years before it would really disintegrate, if that. So I talked to a lady named Robin Lennekeisen, I think her name is?
Yes.
Okay, and she is the person that is in charge of all the procedure you have to go to do this. You can't just do it. You have to get a permit,
Right.
and you might have to do either a buffer management plan or a vegetation management plan. So, hey, we've got it started, and the first thing that's gonna be done is she's gonna call Rhea, and Rhea's gonna take her to look at the dead canes too. I don't know why she wants to see them, but she probably.
She actually called me the other day.
Excellent.
I didn't tell you, I'm sorry.
Oh,
And
okay.
she's going to, I told her I'm sort of in and out this week.
It's a start, yeah.
She's usually pretty
But I gave her
reasonable.
my cell phone
Yeah.
number, and I have hers, so.
So we just have to find out what paperwork we have to
Oh,
do
here.
and what plantings they would expect us to do.
But
Right.
if you plant something, aren't you gonna come back and spray it again?
No, we're not gonna plant in the same place. We're gonna mow some of this down. Not all of this stuff
Yeah,
came
but
back.
that-
There's just a small
It's-
percent.
Yeah, remember,
10%.
95% of it gets killed,
At
so it's
first,
the
yeah.
5% that comes back.
So we have to mow it and see
And
what's.
I got the impression that they sprayed the whole area again.
No,
No, no,
they're
no,
gonna
they
selectively spray.
selectively
Yeah,
spray.
they selectively
At least
spray.
that's, that's my impression.
No, that's true because it's gonna be cheaper.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, yeah, it's a lot cheaper the second time.
Because, and then they come back another, so our permit was for 5 years, from 2017 to 2021. So hopefully by then, we'll get most of it taken under control. And when it's moved down, then we have to figure out what we're required to do, what's the minimum that would look good and be low maintenance. And I
So
think
what
that-
if-
She'll have some recommendations.
So
We
would
have-
it be after 2021 when you're planning the new plants, or?
I think we would have, in 2021, I think we'd have to get a new permit if we still have the problem. And what we're told is that we will always have the problem, because it's like a tangent getting down to the line. It's infinite, it's infinite.
Right,
You just
I
can't
understand
get
that. I
there.
guess my question is like, what's the time frame for like planting the new plants?
Oh, I
Well,
don't know, we have to find out from her,
Yeah.
and I don't know what our budget allows for that kind of
Wait a
thing.
minute.
And then what kind of plants?
Well, I think the minimum, ground cover,
No one's gonna go in there and water,
some sort of ground cover. would
which
be-
doesn't need to be watered.
We've done this before.
Native grasses, let them fill in if they'll let us. do
We've
that.
done this before.
Oh, we have?
Yeah. We did plantings through Robin before, and we actually got the plants for free.
She has a free tree program.
Okay.
That's one thing she
There
mentioned
we
to me
go.
as well.
But-
Okay, we don't want to put it.
Trees and shrubs, there will be no grasses.
Okay.
And she, I don't know if she has any money left or not. And,
Not for this year. She said we'd have to, if we want it for next year, we, at some point soon.
and they will come and plant them for us, but we have to go water them.
No,
So last time we did this, I put a big 55-gallon drum in the back of the truck with a hose. Went around and
What about
watered.
those tree bags that you see, you just come
You
around
can do
and
that too.
But we
you fill
can-
it up and
It's
then
cheaper to put a
We-
55-gallon
yeah.
drum in the back of the truck.
we couldn't plant this fall anyhow because
Right.
we won't, they're gonna spray those other places. And then 4 to 6 weeks later, because we want that to die off, then we're gonna do whatever, as soon as they give us permission, we're gonna go mow that other stuff down. And then, so we would have to wait till the spring to do any planting.
Who's mowing this down?
We have to pay for that.
Our guy Rodney.
We have to pay
I
for
got
that.
Rodney, certainly not
Yeah,
Rodney.
that stuff goes in the swamp, I don't.
I mean, not
Right.
really a lawnmower, mind you, but packing it down, however, so that, then we have to get
We
her,
gotta find out how we get rid of
we
this
have
stuff.
to get her
You know,
permission for.
You could probably do it with our gas-powered hedge clippers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of
Not
it
the
there,
mower.
there's a lot of it.
Well, I
Oh,
mean, you
yeah, but
know,
the mower can't go on the beach.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about, when I said mowing, I mean, get rid of it.
Get rid of
somehow.
it.
How, whether you use a scythe or how, weed whacker, however we do it, I don't know.
that's why I was saying the
I
hedge.
know we're allowed to
hedge
do.
strips.
Let's rent a herd of goats.
To make sure.
Everybody wants to
Well, you
kill
usually
one.
do that for kudzu.
I know.
In Montgomery County, they
Yeah.
hired goats that ate
They
kudzu.
learned that, they learned that from the south.
But you have, well, that would be the thing, could we, I'm told by Mark Smith that, in the past, they've tried to burn it, not the dead canes, but the live plants. And that, there was a little, incident where a house got.
Oh, my.
So,
Yeah, that's not.
so he says it's almost impossible, you have to get the permit from the fire department, he said it's almost impossible, so we can always try, I mean, we can always try. So anyhow, I think we're moving forward on the, getting rid of
keep
the,
Rodney
getting
busy
rid
in
of
the winter.
stuff.
Yeah, we could, yeah.
So we'll just have to see how this, and my concern is whether we can get when we can finesse this permit modification, so these 2 or 3 parcels can be treated. And I think the removal is gonna be much easier
Yeah.
situation.
Anything else?
So just, one question, when is Barbara gonna come next
She
week?
wasn't sure.
Oh,
She
okay.
called me last week,
Okay.
Friday, and I explained my schedule this week and next.
Okay.
And so that's why I gave her my cell phone. I said, just call me, I'll come in. Figure it out.
Anything else?
I'm done.
No. I think we've done around the table.
Mhm.
John?
If you guys would like to possibly discuss the playground, obviously, for
Thank
next
you.
year, I'd be more than happy to take that burden on. Insurance, the placement of it, the construction costs, maintenance. Anything else that anybody can think
Well,
of?
I think,
I think we have a location.
yeah, location, I think by default is gonna be somewhere on our beach.
Permits.
Yeah, but there's permits and requirements of, ground cover or soft stuff. Did you get through to the person that
No, I haven't
Mark suggested?
I
Linda, what's her name? The gal in planning and zoning. Oh gosh, she's,
Linda, you said?
I think it's Linda, I have it written down. So I talked to her, because we asked Mike Hart about,
And I sent him an email, he said, send me an email. I did
Okay.
that, and he was gonna forward it to Terry Shannon,
Terry Shannon.
that wasn't the name you mentioned.
but I had, well,
She's
she's
the
the county
county
administrator.
Yeah, okay.
To see who we would speak with.
Yes, yes.
Not that she would do it, but that
Yeah,
she could
yeah.
tell us what direction to go.
Because what we're trying to
Might have
find
that.
out is somebody that knows something about what it costs to do that little playground set up near the Cone Island
Well,
in Solomon.
not even just the cost, but the maintenance
The
schedule.
maintenance, yes, the maintenance and
Because
insurance.
The insurance and
The
liability.
initial cost and the repeating,
Yeah.
Liability
repeating
issue
cost, yeah.
in particular. How do you keep a maintenance
You
schedule
could-
that will keep
John,
us
you could call
safe?
Terry Shannon directly.
And I'll find
Is
out
it
that other.
TERRI, is this a woman or is
Yeah,
this
it's
a
a
man?
woman.
It's a woman.
She's very nice.
Mhm, very,
She'll-
very nice.
And
Does
she'll
anybody
get
have a
back to
phone
you.
number for Terry?
Terry, yeah, I can give you the records.
Okay.
410-535-1600. And ask for Terry Shannon.
That's the county.
Okay,
That's the county.
I'm not even gonna ask why you know that.
That's the
Okay.
county.
We all know that. That's the county.
Mary was the president for 6 years.
Oh, wait, I think I do have her number now that I think
He was
about it.
he was the president of DPP for 6 years, so he had dealings with the county.
I didn't know you and Terry had
I
relations.
spent a lot of time with
Sure.
him. It's-
What was this? And I'm trying to think of, you probably have the part of the lady you also recommended.
Terry Shannon.
Boom, bada boom.
Pass the torch.
Look at that.
Yeah, right. yeah.
So we've got location, possible permitting issues, construction costs, what we need to put down on the ground, insurance and liability. we wanna find out how the Solomon's Island Park is maintained, because they're not incorporated, correct?
No,
I don't think they
Solomon's
are.
Island is not.
I think that belongs to the county.
I think
Play
so.
area.
Yeah, the play area is now county property, wasn't built with 100% county money, we were told there were corporate donations involved.
Okay,
But now it does belong to the county.
so no one will be opposed to my trying to seek donations.
Oh,
Let's find out what it costs
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
and that's, yeah.
Yeah, let's not put the cart before the horse, let's see what it costs, we might be able to cover it.
I think the big problem is getting a permit to put it on the beach.
Right.
That
Because
makes,
you're in the
remember.
critical, you're in the buffer. I mean,
Yeah.
you're
Well, but
right there.
so's the play
Well, of
area on
course.
Cone
No,
Island.
it's-
Well,
It's
It's
not
not
in the
a
critical
buffer.
area.
It's right off the river.
It's not in the 100-foot buffer, and that's gonna be a deal.
I'll bet it is in the
They have a
100.
whole, there's a whole separate set of rules for the island.
why,
Oh,
why
really?
don't,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
why don't we just
You can
knock
build a
down the
pool in your
burned out
backyard
shed,
on
put it
waterfront
there?
property on the island.
Because we don't own that property.
We can buy the
It's somebody's
property.
We can put a lien on it.
Okay.
That's.
Even if we put a lien on it, I'll never own it.
Yeah, no, exactly right.
They wanna put the playground in that burned property.
Doesn't that sound like a good idea?
Tear it down and put the playground there. No. that-
They're liability.
Wonder what Kurt would think of that.
No.
And
Anyway,
Max.
all right, we're getting out of control here.
Yeah.
All right.
They can all park in Kurt's driveway.
Anybody have any new business? Are we all done with that? Or am I running along too fast?
So it's our beach
It is.
where
That's-
we
yeah.
need to go through our private gate to get
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Right.
So it would be for members of the Drum Point Club?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
The
No, no,
community
the
beach.
beach.
Like the club.
Oh, for the community beach.
Clubs down
Okay.
there, community
Okay.
beaches
Okay.
are there.
Yeah, okay,
Community beach.
okay,
Yeah, so.
Anybody that lives in Drum Point can go.
okay, okay.
Yeah, it's off the beach drive.
There will be, I have a question, so, sometimes the gates close there at 8, right? So everybody needs to leave by 8 if they're on the playground,
Right.
otherwise they get trapped in there.
We could change those rules.
No, I'm just curious.
If it's,
like-
I mean, yeah, is there an issue?
Well,
Yeah,
we
I
can
was-
have that argument many times.
Mr. Joe is no longer with us, so we can
We-
leave it 24/7.
We've had this discussion lots.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. If we left it open 24/7, we could probably leverage the police, the sheriff's department to swing by there more often. I'm just saying, I mean, it's been suggested many times by yours truly, even, to leave it open.
Well, we do
And
it
we do leave it
From
open in the
now
winter.
on.
We
In the
never
winter,
did
yeah.
that.
until Memorial Day weekend, it will be 24/7 open, and we haven't had any issues
Yeah.
for
We-
2 years doing it.
Just to remind everybody, the things we've done is we had the police come by on high traffic weekends, holidays and so on. Some other weekends
Just randomly.
during the summer, randomly. We put up security cameras. And those two things really have made a big difference.
So there are security cameras where we would put, where we
Yeah.
possibly put this, okay.
We might want to re-aim it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Or even have one, but yes, there's security cameras there now.
And can I ask, is there a physical address to this beach?
That's a good question.
There's no.
There's not, okay,
I don't think so.
okay.
So you could give it like the address on either side?
I've often given out, like Mr. Jerry's, it's like 2 doors down from the beach, I mean, I can give that for you.
Okay, no, I bet there is an address.
Then how-
We should look on SDAT, I bet there is an
It's
address.
a parcel, right? It's a
Oh, that's
parcel.
true, maybe it does have an address. I can check, I'll
Okay.
check. Maybe
Okay.
this, I've never thought of
Then you'd
that.
have to put a sign up.
Yeah.
Gotta have some kind of address.
Are you just so you can get? is that what
Well, I
you're-
know, I'm just, because if I try to get an insurance quote, they might ask for an address,
You're right,
and
you're right.
so.
And to get a permit, you
Yeah,
gotta do.
yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that was a great question.
All right. Anything else on that? New business, new business. All right, good. Scheduling the next meeting. It'll be October. It'll be right after the general membership meeting.
Yes, it is.
Which will automatically have a quorum.
Yes, we did.
Piss off
Thank
another
you.
one.
Lisa said
The first Tuesday is the second.
The second.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm always
Fine, bud.
boring like.
I'll probably be here because I'll come down for the 26th and I'll probably just stay.
You won't be.
I won't be here.
I'll be here.
Oh, that's right, the famous road.
I probably won't be here in November either.
That's right.
Welcome to the
So
20th century.
excited.
No,
Hmm.
I wish I was in the 20th century.
Our
21st
meeting is
century
the
stuff is
25th.
ridiculous.
Is that correct?
Well, general,
It's
no,
the
general is
26th.
the 26th.
26.
We haven't changed.
All right, so October 2nd is
Just got smart.
the meeting?
So the general meeting is?
The 26th.
So
Wednesday,
Yes.
the 26th. Okay, for some reason I wrote the 27th, okay.
I already have it.
It's a Wednesday, 7
Wednesday
o'clock.
the
At
26th.
7 p.m.
I won't be here for either.
And then October 2nd will be the next meeting. Yeah, one of the, well, for those of you that won't be here for the 26th meeting, one of the things we're all going to bring up and ask people is how they feel about changing, you know, the Saturday and Wednesday. It's always been a Wednesday and a Saturday for general membership meeting. And it's been pointed out that Wednesdays, we are competing with various other things that take place in the community. And so, does anybody that's not gonna be here have a preferred day that they would like to see rather than Wednesday? It doesn't matter. Oh, yeah, if we move it from Wednesday, then.
I know.
I usually-
Mr. Huffnagel did deliver, I should have told you this earlier, the new signs for the meetings. They were very nice.
Oh.
And I asked him about, what if, because there are sliders in it and say Wednesday, you know, whatever, versus Saturday meeting. And what he'll do is just pull the sliders out and flip them and paint Thursday or Tuesday or whatever.
whatever day we have. Okay, anyway, so that's it. I guess we can all go home.
Yeah.
Move to adjourn.